Dear colleagues, esteemed guests of our capital, I believe I represent the world of travel, gynecology, and as the leading gynecologist of the country. For many years I worked as a director, like traveling through gynecology. I would like to welcome all our guests and say a few words about what is happening in our country today concerning microbiology. I am ready for new developments and can share that throughout this year For numerous years I have been attending to these appointments, the advancements made by our Microbiology Institute for patients, particularly in cases involving premature births and prevalent pregnancy complications within our country, alongside my continuous efforts in minimizing maternal health issues, have greatly strengthened our long-standing partnership with this institute. I must highlight that science today signifies progress and growth. Travel dentistry, I think their contributions today are highly valued by the esteemed President, who emphasized the integration of microbiology developments in our country, and esteemed speakers confirmed. Yes, indeed, this is happening today in our country, and we are actively implementing. I believe that our guests today will hear about these advancements, as for the first time, 10 regions in our country are now seeing these initiatives being implemented. This is presented in the form of biotextiles introduced today by our guest from Japan, who is the developer of the world's only laboratory, bringing this product to the Zelensky region today. I believe that the research initiatives we are undertaking in our nation in collaboration with the Microbiology Institute signify the start of groundbreaking innovations. I would like to express my gratitude to our collaborators and the academic community who are tackling pressing concerns related to healthcare recovery. As you are aware, reproductive health encounters significant hurdles nationwide. I believe that in this very direction, our collaboration with this institute allows us to open new pathways in this field today. As you may already know, there is Resolution 402 by our esteemed President aimed at reducing issues related to breast cancer and cervical cancer. Our association, as well as myself personally, We're actively advancing new techniques aimed at preventing cervical cancer. Therefore, I would like to welcome all our guests, those who will hear about new directions in this clinical field. I consider this clinical medicine because the Microbiology Institute is widely integrated into clinical medicine and dentistry. I even think that today there is something new. As the chairman of the Doctoral Council for Gynecology, I recognize that there is considerable progress in research on reproductive functions. You know, in our country, many centers for extracorporeal solutions for reproductive health have emerged, and in alignment with this, the Microbiology Institute equips us to leverage the reserve capacities of the follicular apparatus using probiotics. The incorporation of postbiotics within our nation today is set to elevate reproductive health standards. I extend my best wishes to all who are part of this conference on the 24th, 25th, and 26th, where I will be hosting a roundtable discussion at my clinic with our guest from Japan, who will conduct a masterclass focused on the implementation of this program. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Yukihiro Suzuki. I represent Biogenics Tokyo, Japan. We have gathered here today to discuss the achievements of modern medicine and new horizon of its development. The occasion for my speech in the Republic of Uzbekistan is the name of a man whose scientific and medical work has for many years served as an example of dedication to the profession and care for people. Back in the 1990s, Professor Sudanov, while undertaking an internship at Fukushima Clinic, Japan, and Professor Goto-san first became acquainted with postbiotics. It was then that he realized how innovations could transform the very approach to treatment and prevention. From the very beginning of his scientific career, Professor Sultanov devoted himself to one of the most pressing problems of healthcare in Uzbekistan: maternal morbidity and mortality. His focus has been on preterm birth, antenatal fetal death, obstetric hemorrhage, septic complications, and pregnancy loss. By introducing probiotics into clinical practice, it can not only explain, but also save lives and improve the health of women and children. And today, Professor Sultanov is making the next step, introducing a new generation of products, Postbiotics, which open even broader opportunities for prevention and treatment. Thus, he remains an example of a doctor and scientist for whom no one's pain is a stranger's pain. His work inspires us to move forward for the sake of life, health, and future generations. We saw the potential and interest in collaborating with scientists and professors in your country. We would be delighted to spend 2 days with you. Today, we will talk about postbiotics, an innovative tool of microbiology that unites medicine, agriculture, food industry, and pharmaceuticals. Today, postbiotics are used in various sectors, including pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, and food industry, food packaging, as well as veterinary medicine and animal husbandry. Do you know why postbiotics is so wide? I think it is because it is made by bacteria. Made by bacteria. Bacteria was born 3.5 billion years ago on Earth. But we humans have the history of 2 million, only 2 million. Bacteria have been living on Earth 1,750 times longer than us. We know they do not have knowledge, but they have wisdom to survive on Earth. Nowadays, we have known some parts of their wisdom, but it is still mysterious, a miracle, like our body and mind, like Earth and universe. The idea of metabolic products of lactic acid bacteria is associated with Koei Otani, a Buddhist monk, who found a text related to postbiotics in a Buddhistic scripture, written about 2,500 years ago. It says, milk is taken from cow. Raku is made from milk. Shuso is made from raku. Jukso is made from shuso. The final stage, postbiotics, biodonatam, is made from jukso. If people take biodonatam, he says, Buddha said, the final stage, all of diseases would be cured. The essence of medical drug is all in here. This is in Buddhistic scripture, 2,500 years ago. After Koei Otani read the scripture, he wanted to make it, because Buddha also said to promote the final stage, biodonatam, is the same as promoting Buddhistic teachings. Through trials and errors, he and his associate, Kakutaro Masagaki, created the first prototype of LAB fermented extract. Over the time, methods of LAB cultivation and fortification were developed, which improved the stability and effectiveness of postbiotics. And in 1980s, industrial production of Japanese postbiotics began. Postbiotic production involves several key stages like this. And restoration, optimization of fermentation breath, and processing, catalysis, separation and purification, and identification of postbiotic metabolites. The production process is complex, from selecting bacterial strains, fermentation, purification, to analysis. But the key advantage is simple. Postbiotics are not live bacteria, but their metabolites. This makes them stable, safe, and predictable in action. The key components of postbiotics are short-chain fatty acids, expopolysaccharides, peptides, and bacteriocins, antioxidants, enzymes. All of them have antimicrobial, immunomodulatory, and biostimulant effects. Historically, to collect LAB, people had to isolate it from intestines of healthy human body, or food such as miso, sake, and soy sauce, kimchi, kefir, yogurt, and such and such. But now, get LAB is much easier. We can buy it. For example, from RIKEN Bioresource Center. But for a company, the origin of LAB is not so important. The important thing is how we fortify LAB, lactic acid bacteria. Selection of nutrient media and cultivation conditions are also important. We let LAB face stresses. The most resistant ones only survive for use. LAB strains of each manufacturing company are similar but different. The most important thing is to observe, feel, and taste lactic acid bacteria every day until you can communicate with lactic acid bacteria. You communicate with bacteria. Okay? Then that's why it is no easy way to deal with LAB because they are living and wide. And it is not easy to make good postbiotics. By Jonathan. Here I show what and how postbiotics act from the metabolites and cell components aspect. There are some key components of postbiotics, such as main short-chain fatty acids, expopolysaccharides, peptidoglycans, antioxidant enzymes, functional enzymes, peptides, and teichoic and lipoteichoic acids. This slide presents a comparative table of probiotic strains and their associated postbiotic components. Now I explain about postbiotics application to crop production in agriculture. Postbiotics can use as an alternative to fertilizers and pesticides. Postbiotics can inhibit the growth of these pathogens by creating unfavorable conditions for their development by lowering pH, releasing antimicrobial substances. So we can use postbiotics as a replacement of fertilizers and pesticides because they suppress phytopathogens, stimulate plant growth, increase drought and salinity tolerance, and improve nitrogen and phosphorus uptake. The mechanisms of action on plants and soil are complicated. But through induction of ISR, induced systemic resistance, and SAR, systemic acquired resistance, hormone modulation enhances root formation and germination, soil microbial effects, phosphate stabilization, and improved N, nitrogen, and micronutrient uptake, and disruption of pathogen biofilms. Postbiotics contribute to plants' growth and maintain the good soil conditions. Postbiotic application, field and greenhouse conditions for seed treatment, for root and soil treatment, for foliar application, and postbiotics work well with organic fertilizers and compost. Allow reduction of mineral fertilizers by 10 to 30% without yield loss. About crops and expected effects of using postbiotics. Cereals yield up by 5 to 12%. Vegetable, better fruit setting, reduce diseases. Grapes, heavier bunches, less mildew. Cotton yield up by 10 to 15%, less bacterium wilt. Lower incidence of rice blast. Thus, postbiotics provide both ecological and economic benefit, achieve less chemicals and higher yields. We also conducted randomized controlled field trials, and results are very good. Sorry, we skipped some pages for lack of time. Formulation and stability and logistics. Application example, cotton. Application example, rice. And global issue, food safety. The issue of food safety is more and more important. There are now 600 million cases of food poisoning annually. Postbiotics are increasingly used in food and beverage industry. They save natural biopreservatives due to extending shelf life. Postbiotics and probiotics. Postbiotics can be used for food biopreservation. Postbiotics, lactic acid bacteria metabolites, suppress the growth of pathogens and spoilage processes, so we can use postbiotics as replacement of synthetic preservatives. Postbiotics are suitable for functional food and nutraceuticals. Functional properties such as exopolysaccharides from L-plantanum show immunomodulity and anti-cancer activity. Bifidobacterium longum stimulates regulation of immune response. Postbiotics can be incorporated into active packaging to prevent pathogen growth. This is an important step towards clean label products because it is natural and safe. By using LAB metabolites, we can inhibit Listeria biofilms as well. Postbiotics are also emerging as a new generation of bioactive components. In pharmaceuticals, anti-cancer and antimicrobial drugs, and in cosmetics, skincare, anti-aging. Postbiotics is stable, safe, immunomodulatory, and anti-inflammatory. It is used in pharmaceuticals and cosmetics. We can use postbiotics for various sectors, as here to mention some. This slide shows the current applications of postbiotics in medicine. The main areas of use are immunology and oncology. Other significant fields are gynecology, cardiology, and gastroenterology. This is also growing use in neurology and infectious diseases, pulmonology and dermatocosmetology. Smaller but still promising applications are in dentistry and ophthalmology. The conclusion, 53. Okay, postbiotics are safe and stable. They are applicable in medicine and agriculture, food industries, and animal husbandry. They represent a step forward a healthier and more sustainable future. And we can share the wisdom of bacteria. Okay, so you scientists and professors study by using the modern technology. We manufacture, try to mimic their way of making in the healthy body, inner body. So it's what we are doing. And that's we expect you professors and scientists do for the future. Thank you very much.